I've been right here. I've been waiting for you to come home, baby.
Hello and welcome back to the Outtakes podcast. I'm your host, Mike, and as always, I've got with me here
Billy.
and
Donnie.
as well as...
Dom.
And today we've got a guest, goes by the name of...
Jonathan. I'm Jonathan.
There we go. So today we're going to be talking about time.
Travel.
Travel.
Yeah,
It's like-
apparently time is too broad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
I guess.
Well, time travel, you mean like it takes a long time to travel?
No, like
No.
time travel is
Oh.
traveling
Traveling
through
through
time.
time.
Yeah.
Like the
I
game.
get you, I understand.
Turtles through time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's kind of like illegal.
Is it?
Where?
Yeah,
Where's
I mean, like,
illegal?
there's tons of theories
there
out there
time
that's saying
travel
that,
law?
like, if you, like, travel through time, you can, like, mess up everything and it actually just creates another universe or whatever.
Well, yeah, the idea
Yeah,
is
that's the
like,
multiverse theory. And then there's
shouldn't do
another
that.
theory. What?
Well, you shouldn't do that, and that's why people think. You ever think like, if there was time travel in the future, then why would we not be seeing time travelers now?
Exactly.
Think
Maybe
about the
maybe
whole
they're
thing where it
hiding.
cause paradoxical situations, and maybe they can't go back.
Yeah, but haven't you seen those totally
there's the-
legit pictures of
there's-
those people in the
Oh, yeah.
60s with
They've
iPhones?
debunked all of those.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Also, the guy that wears modern day clothes and like that didn't exist then, but it technically did, like as a college jacket.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah, but have you even watched Doctor Who?
I have.
What about Bill and Ted's Excellent
Yeah.
Adventure?
I've also watched that.
Yeah.
That was
Oh,
a
we
great
watched
mistake.
that last year.
Yeah,
Remember?
we did.
They traveled in time.
Did you ever watch the sequel?
No, I
It's
have
okay.
Yeah,
it's
it's not
just
that good.
okay. They're making another one.
not.
Anyways.
Are they still alive?
Yeah.
Oh.
William Theodore.
Yep.
It's
less
Keanu
stressed.
Reeves. Of course, he's still alive.
All right.
He's
Um,
immortal.
Yeah, but they can't have George Carlin in it.
He's dead. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
Rip.
So like, there's two different time travel theories. There's like the multiverse theory, where like if you change something, it creates a whole separate universe where it did happen and then it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And then there's, I forget what it's called, but like it just goes along the lines of there's no multiverse, there's just the one universe, and no matter what you do back in time, you'll still get the same outcome.
Oh,
'Cause
like
once
it
it
kind of
happens-
always happened.
Yeah, that's like
that's kind of what Bill and Ted did.
kind of
Because when they
things
went back,
happen.
they saw them at the
Yeah.
beginning of the movie because things still happen.
Yeah, because things happen how they're supposed to happen, and you can't
You
change
can't
it.
change
Yeah, and when when it was broken, they actually went to the future where they still succeeded
That's
because
why-
that was still the outcome.
That's why up until like 2000, mid 2000s or something like that, that was the whole time travel storyline. Every time it's like, oh, I see myself, or oh, that happened, or whatever. Doctor Who even followed that.
Even in Harry Potter, Prisoner of Azkaban, they see themselves.
Same
as the
thing.
time
Same thing
travel.
with Harry Potter. However,
also in Bravest Warriors, I think they could see themselves like 5 minutes in the future and in the past.
That was a
And
I
it's
didn't
like-
watch Bravest Warriors.
It was this really weird episode.
Oh wait, no, I have. I watched.
Yeah,
it
have
on-
you seen that one?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
I
weird.
watched like the first like half the season or something. I forgot what it was called because it was so long ago. I watched it on the 3DS video app.
Oh.
Yeah. Same thing with Dinosaur.
Hey, Dinosaur
I was about
Office.
to
That
say
was like
Dinosaur
the
Office.
yeah.
It came on there.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
watched that like so many times. And it's
Do you remember it?
hold on. They said Dinosaur Office. Rah!
That's exactly how it went.
And he was like, I'm Craig. And they roared and stuff. It was cool.
Sanjay.
That's great.
I really like that.
So,
So that's kind of like the common time travel thing.
I mean, like, if you go, it changed because beforehand it was like the multiverse theory is like relatively new compared to the theory beforehand.
yeah.
And that's why you see it pop up so much more in like, you know, fiction and pop culture now than like then.
Okay, so then, out of us, which one do you think is correct?
Huh?
We'll just go around. Like, which one do you think? Do you think the singular universe or the multi-universe theory when it comes
What,
to
should
time
we
travel?
like go around
Oh,
stating
oh.
what we all believe?
Like,
Well, yeah, like which one do you
I
think
know.
is like the right? You don't have to like put like an extensive justification
I
because
like-
neither are
I
correct
like
or wrong.
both, and I'm fine with both of them.
Yeah.
because they're both.
All right.
Yeah, but you
kind of
can't
weird.
live with
I
both.
know,
I know,
You're gonna be
I know
that
that.
guy.
So,
Yeah, I know a guy who would do that.
Where?
personally, I don't know. I guess I like the older one more because it makes more.
Why?
Just logically, it makes more sense in my head.
Okay. I like the multiverse one better. I think it just makes more sense in my head.
Okay.
I like the outcome that fate is always the same.
So the
Just
old,
like, yeah, the
older
old one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have any preference.
Okay,
Well,
me.
you know,
But if you
gotta-
had to choose.
Yeah, if you had to
All
choose
right,
one.
if I had to choose, I guess I'd choose the multiverse because, if you go back in time, you want to change stuff. You don't want it to just all turn out to be the same, right? Kind of boring.
Yeah,
right?
because I mean, a lot of the times that's like kind of what people are trying to avoid, or like if you go back in time and kill your grandfather, that kind of thing as well.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
That kind of creates just a new thing where your grandfather didn't exist.
yeah.
Well, yeah, but the thing with the multiverse is if you do change something, you're not changing your timeline. If you go back, you'll be in a different timeline. It might feel the same, right? It might,
Yeah.
but the change you made will be a difference in the world, and it'll be a different timeline. You know,
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless the fate is that you will change the timeline.
Oh.
Okay, Mike.
Anyways, so what's
well,
your...
yeah, because then you can combine the two, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, have you seen I like the multiverse one.
Mhm.
Have you seen or because they made a show out of it or read the Stephen King novel? I forget what it's called.
It's the 19 something something. It's about
It's the
the guy
numbers.
goes back and like tries to save JFK, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never finished. The
Oh, it's
show,
probably called like
but
63 then.
Yeah, 1963, I think.
Yeah, because that's the year he was murdered.
It's like the specific date.
Yeah. Well, no, it's
Oh, November, what was it? November 11th, 1963, I think?
no, it's like in like
Oh, so it would be like
Number
ele-
slash
like
number
11
slash-
9
oh, yeah.
63
Yeah.
probably. I could be
Yeah,
wrong.
I think that might be it.
We'll have it on the screen.
Can you do that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can.
yeah.
Oh, good job. I'm applauding future Mike. You know,
It's actually
time
future.
It's
travel.
actually
Travel.
future Billy.
I'm applauding future.
I do
Billy
the
in time
audio. He
travel.
does the video.
I'm
Fun
plotting future
fact.
Billy.
Fun
What do these
outtakes
guys do?
fact.
What are these guys?
Well, Dom will do video
Dom's
if I
like
can.
back up. Donnie is just here.
I do nothing.
Yeah, he wears a cool hat.
Oh
It's-
yeah, he does the gameplay if we
No
need
problem.
to.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah,
he-
like in
he-
the first episode
He
where
did the Doom.
yeah, he did the Doom.
It's my favorite game.
He was
No.
pretty good at it.
But now you have
It's pretty
video,
fun.
and now he's useless. Come on, guys.
Yeah,
Oh.
sorry. You're off the.
So, like,
John's
okay, my
right.
last
Okay.
episode, everybody. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I have a question.
Dude, you let me finish.
If
On the show.
oh, sorry, continue.
Yeah, in the show, he wants to go back in time and change that, and then he finds out like it's changing all these minute
That's-
things.
yeah, the
oh,
right?
I love
Butterfly
butterfly
effect,
effect. I
right?
love
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I love that
whole
idea.
thing.
Games based off of that are amazing.
Yeah,
a
and then
fun
he doesn't.
topic. It's a
what
fun
was the-
topic.
He
what
doesn't
was the
like
name
it
of the-
because it's bad. It ends up being like he is trying to change something for the good, but he ends up in like
Yeah, it's always
Oh,
the
yeah,
cliche
yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just-
you try to do something good, it turns out bad. The whole world's destroyed.
Just imagine
Just
doing
doing
Fallout.
okay.
Yeah.
No, just imagine doing
Like
that
the
to
Sound
like
of Thunder.
preventing
You said.
JFK like dying, and then like because Oswald missed, he just tries it again the next day and then he dies.
Oh.
Oh, that's like probably the undeniable fate theory.
Yeah,
that's
that kind of
along
thing.
with that
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
Like in what's that movie called? That one movie where there's all these people who are supposed to die in like a bus accident or something, but then they don't, and then they all just like die in all these ridiculous ways because they were meant to die.
Final
and it's
Destination.
That sounds like
yeah,
Final
Final
Destination,
Destination. That's what I was
yeah.
trying to talk about. And that also happens in spoiler. It happens in the series Lost.
No.
I mean, it's like season.
Wait,
3.
what?
I
It's like
haven't
season
seen
3. It's not that big of a
Lost.
spoiler. But
I never watched it.
Well,
Too
there's
much
this-
of
I
Doom.
kind of
there's
wanted
this one
to.
guy
tiny.
who
Oh.
it's like he can see the future, but it's more like he existed in the future and now he's gone back
Oh,
and is remembering what happens in the future,
Okay.
and he's trying to save these people who he knows will die inevitably, and he saves them each day, but at some point he won't be able to, and they'll have to die because each day
Oh.
they die. It's like they're going to die in a different way. So he tries to
oh.
save them.
At first that kind of sounds like Ocarina of Time because you have to go in the knowledge will pass over through time.
Oh, yeah.
Every time when you keep going 10 years in the future in the back.
Mhm.
And yeah, you go 10 years in the future and the entire thing's everyone's dead, like it's all zombies and stuff, and most of the villages are like quiet and stuff.
No, it'd be cool if like as you did stuff over time in Ocarina of Time, stuff would change little by little.
Yeah, I don't know if
yeah.
they could
But
really
no,
do
it's
that.
just
You can
literally
do
the same
that.
thing.
You can plant trees and the trees will grow up.
Oh yeah, well,
10
okay,
years
well,
is
like,
short.
If you
Okay,
like clear a
Fable.
temple or something.
10 years is short for actually no, that's actually what you have to do in the Spirit Temple. You have to do part of it as a kid and part of it as an adult because you have to change something when you're a kid.
That's right.
But yeah, so if you had like anything that you wanted to do that you wanted to change in the past through time travel and it wouldn't have any weird butterfly effect counter effects, what would you want to do? Like you
start.
could, yeah, you could go back in time. What would you want to change? But it doesn't have any counter effects, so you don't have to worry about anything.
What would I change?
Wait. Also, if no, never mind. Continue.
Okay. What would I change? I'd probably
Get nose surgery.
no.
You could do that
If we
today.
need time to think about this, we can talk
it's
about
a
another
weird-
easy topic
It's a
while we
weird
think.
thing to like just
I mean-
because there's not like I don't know. I guess I've never been like I've done something where it was like, oh God.
Okay, hold on,
Age.
wait. Not something you've necessarily done. Anything in history.
I was thinking
Anything
like
in
Then
history?
then
Yeah.
that's
Bigger
kind of
stuff.
That's even
because,
tougher.
You'll mention something and someone will be like, oh, well, why didn't you do this one more serious thing? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
I
well, yeah,
forgot about it probably.
I guess
Yeah, maybe it should be so personal, but like, if there was anything in history that you would feel like this should have been different,
should have
Like,
been different. I guess
yeah.
like the first thing that at least if you're American, the first thing that you think about is one of the several president assassinations.
yeah,
Or
like 9/11 or something.
Or 9/11's another big one. Maybe like
Stop the people going on the
yeah,
planes.
or like delay the plane somehow or something like that. Or
I mean, that would eventually go on, but like...
but
Yeah.
like you know,
Or you could just
Yeah,
like be
or
like,
just be
tell
able to
them.
send a message. Yeah.
But if the theory that you conform to is the inevitability thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then there's no point to the things you're changing. So if you're thinking about the multiverse theory, though, then like I said earlier,
Yeah, that's
you go back, but you've fixed another
Right.
timeline.
that one. This
Be a-
this
fix your
whole
own.
concept of if you could go back and change something and have like it change what it is now, that applies to the multiverse theory.
But what about another idea of just like a constant, steady timeline, and it can be you can go back, edit it, and then that changes everything that goes forward. You know,
Yeah.
oh,
that's
so
the thing,
everything's
too.
like preset, but it
that's
can
the
also
only-
be
That's
altered.
the only way in which going back and changing anything matters.
Yeah.
It's like this is how
Well,
things
then-
happen, but you can go back and change how they happen.
Mhm.
But wait, if the...
So like the fate is that you change the timeline.
but then
so,
if
like,
the...
Well, that's that different theory. That everything.
It doesn't
Well,
have
if
to
you
be
go- if
fate.
you-
It's just you go back in time and
You
change
just go
it.
back.
if you go
and
back
it's
in
different.
past, if you go back in the past and change the future, would you still exist because the future's changed, or would
That's
like a
a-
new
yeah, that's-
you
for
exist?
For the sake of the
That's the-
discussion,
that's the
can we just
butterfly.
say that
Yeah,
you
that's like
do?
the butterfly.
That's the butterfly effect. You ever watch the movie A Sound of Thunder?
No.
It's like
Is it loud?
so yeah. No. On the cover of
That's great.
it's got like a picture of a butterfly, and the whole movie revolves around the butterfly effect. Basically, they go back in time as like an experiment. They find they see dinosaurs and stuff, and they're like, wow, it worked. So everything would have been fine except a guy saw a butterfly that doesn't exist today, and he took it with him.
Was it the monarch butterfly?
It wasn't a monarch.
That
That
exists
exists today.
Oh, I'm just saying.
No, it was like some weird looking thing. It was big too, but he took it.
Oh, it's spooky.
And he was like, butterfly. And so we went into the future. Well, technically would be, well,
Did he
it
go
would be
back
now.
to the future?
Yes.
Back to the present?
Technically, it's like
Yeah, like you return to the future.
it's like in the near future. That's when it takes place.
Mm-hmm.
And he also the CGI is terrible, but he gets the he has the butterfly and he's like, I have the butterfly, but then things like start changing and it's like, wow, this is really bad. We need to like put the butterfly back. And then actually there was a Arthur episode about this, but anyways,
Wow.
An Arthur?
I mean,
Yeah.
the butterfly effect is like a popular idea, and
Oh, I
also
love
like
that.
that shows tend
Crap
to
ton of
take
stuff.
from other
Yeah.
movies and then like
what they
take the plot.
what they did is instead of like taking a butterfly, there was a butterfly in it though,
Yeah.
but like I think Binky Barnes left a bag of potato chips behind or something like that, and so the dinosaurs were like, "We are people," and the people are like, I'm trying to remember.
Because
It was
of the-
either a
because of
short,
the
like
chips?
in between, like a buffer maybe, or like a maybe I don't remember if it was a full
That's
fledged
weird.
episode or not, because they did some like outlandish things a couple times, but
Like put headphones on their, like
The side of the head.
instead of their ears.
Yeah. But I mean, like, yeah. Then like in the movie, they started turning into like fish people and stuff like that
Because
because,
of-
people didn't evolve correctly because that
Oh,
butterfly
no.
did something or whatever.
Huh.
Oh, there's like
That's
a
interesting.
there's a whole game based off the butterfly effect. That's like it's
Quantum
called
Break.
Dragon Ball's universe?
no.
Oh,
Is it Until Dawn? It's a horror game.
Oh,
I've played that, yeah.
Like with the
Yeah, it's
different
like-
Oh, yeah,
ethics
you
and
are
all that.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's-
Yeah, literally,
I haven't
like-
played that in forever.
All the
played
trophies
that
have like
ever.
butterflies, and then like the whole like even in the game they have like a branch of paths that you chose, and it's displayed as like a butterfly. I think.
And in each ending is like different people survive because it's like a
Yeah.
group
Yeah,
of
because
kids.
like say like one person, like you're placed in a life or death situation, like you have to shoot a person or like shoot yourself, but the gun has blanks. And if you choose to shoot the person, then later on they'll screw over the person who like was gonna shoot them and like
Right.
not let them be safe because
Yeah,
they
'cause
try
you're
to
like-
kill you.
yeah,
so-
Yeah, or sometimes
Or
it'll
you
be
try to kill
difficult. Like you'll have a decision to like have the murderer basically kill one person or a different one, and that completely affects the rest of it. Or you'll run
Yeah,
into
because one of the things is like, well, actually, one of them is like fake. So then, like,
Yeah, exactly,
You can
yeah.
either, well, you don't know.
yeah,
but, like,
you don't know. It's just kind of
Yeah.
like
I remember.
yeah,
I remember watching a playthrough. I never played the game myself.
Yeah.
I should because I have it.
yeah,
but
it's fun.
Oh, it's just one stupid thing is like to say like in my first run I saved everybody except one person because to save that
pretty
one
impressive.
person you need to find all the collectibles that like
Oh.
give clues to these two people's absence or absence. My bad.
do the collectibles like actually have? Is it like a plot related kind of collectible
Yeah,
thing?
Yeah,
like,
it's
like,
clues.
like you
Or just
discover
find the
more and
little
more about
thingy.
something.
No, it has clues.
Yeah,
like you were
they
saying.
give clues, and you discover more and more about it. But if you don't find them all, then somebody dies. who,
Yep.
like it's so annoying.
Is that like the idea of? I mean, I get that it's a video game mechanic, but
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
within the context of the game, is that within the context of like fate has to happen this way in order for this outcome?
Or is it just like lore or something?
I suppose. I mean, well, do you think it's? I think it would be more of like a knowledge thing, so you can save them.
Yeah.
You would have to look at those clues to put
Well,
the
with
picture
the
together.
what happens with the clues is like he figures out something about a monster, and because of that, he's saved by the monster because like they. Okay, it's tough to explain it without like
Spoiling
going
it.
deep into it, but like the monster recognizes him, he recognizes the monster, and the monster chooses not to kill him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then he's technically saved, but I mean not really. He doesn't like even escape.
Oh.
So
Um,
Wow, rip.
Is
But,
it,
I mean, he
is
still
it the,
survives,
Is it the
apparently.
guy with the glasses or?
No, we're not gonna spoil
No.
our
Oh my God,
fans.
All right, no, I'm sorry.
Spoiling.
But there's also some like weird minute.
I just don't
thing.
remember.
There's a bunch of weird minute like events that you'll run into the game that like, especially at the beginning, like you'll. Like isn't there like that one time you have a choice to like throw a snowball
at like a bird or
Yeah,
something like
and
that?
if-
Yeah.
If you choose to hit the bird, it's like actually really bad.
yeah. Well, the thing is, you just don't disrupt nature because
Yeah.
that always screws you over.
It was
Like-
teaching you like how sometimes you shouldn't do a quick time event.
Yeah.
And sometimes you should.
Yeah, that's especially true because that kills someone later on.
Yeah.
And then
Cool.
also one of the. All right, it's so
The
funny
bird goes
because
out to get revenge.
one of the like besides the person I was just talking about, one of the hardest people to save is actually like this one dude because in almost like every situation he's in, he's almost screwed over. Like, and it's so complicated because there's this one thing with with a flare, and I think it's like a flare gun, and if you choose not to use it, which usually you would choose to use it, then it will totally screw him over later because like, so what happens? He shows up in the beginning, he gets a flare gun. If you do something right with somebody else, so it's even harder, and then like all the way in the end of the game, he shows up again, but you need the flare gun. Oh, it's so dumb.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just so complicated to
Right.
save that one guy, and everybody else, it's like pretty.
So it's really
Explanatory.
elaborate on the butterfly effect. Like it really shows you.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
like the main
Yeah.
mechanic.
Because
Yeah.
there's tons of different endings you can get.
Mhm.
How many are there? Like over 20 something.
Well, there's one for like, I
I
mean,
think there's
there's like
one for
what,
every
like-
combination of people.
yeah, was there
Wow.
like 7 or 8 people?
I think 8.
Are
Yeah.
they all like unique? Like
Yeah,
or is
they're
Yeah,
it-
all
they're all
different
unique
people.
characters
They're all
and
different
stuff. The
people.
game's funny. Sony made it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was like a promotional game when the PS4 kind of first came out.
Yeah.
Wasn't it a launch title or no?
I don't know if it
No.
was
No,
it
launched,
wasn't.
but it was pretty early in its life. But it's still a really good game. It looks good too.
Mhm.
But like, okay, so this is kind of like a. Okay, so in media, what do you think is like a really good example of like utilizing time travel?
Oh, did you guys see that movie Edge of Tomorrow? I think.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
No,
a
I
good.
didn't.
That
one.
was
That's
a good
one.
movie.
It's like Groundhog's Day, kinda.
Yeah, it's not.
Oh, was Groundhog's?
It's like
That's the Michael,
trying to
not
remember.
Robin Williams.
like keeps reliving
William
the
ones,
same
yeah.
day.
Oh yeah.
Like Edge
Yeah.
of Tomorrow is like that,
It's like
but
Bites
it's
the
an
Dust.
action movie, and
Yeah.
it's really good.
It kind of follows, actually, the multiverse theory because
Ooh.
like
Does
You
it?
know-
I don't really remember that well.
I kind of because when he
I thought
there's
he
like
was,
the universe where I think the way it works is that it doesn't really. It's not like a polar like one theory or the other. It was more like. It's not. It's almost like its own, like in the sense of
I
like.
thought it was just like one timeline. He's just going back and trying to he just kept getting sent back.
Well, every time he dies, he
yeah.
goes back.
Right.
But
So is that like
the
a new
multiverse
universe?
would be like, the universe would be like, he lived this one universe, he dies, but he goes back with the knowledge.
Well, I don't think that's real. Is that like a?
It's
Did
not
they
explained
mention
or
it?
anything
Yeah.
like that, but I'm assuming that's like the whole.
I kinda-
deal
There's also
with
a
it.
show like that.
Huh?
There's a show like that.
There's a
that we
game
watched,
like
Mike.
that.
Oh, there is a show.
Yeah, you
yeah.
die. Yeah.
Starting life.
That was a really
Yeah,
good
sure.
show that
Okay.
you should watch.
So
I
Edge of
watched
Tomorrow's
2 episodes.
ReZero.
You should watch more.
Yeah, so basically you die, you go back in time. It's like a save point mechanic.
Yeah, and this
what you
game,
remember,
well,
yeah.
the
like a
reason why he
bathroom.
calls it a save point mechanic is because like the whole idea of the show is that he kind of treats it like a game. Eventually, he's like,
Well, this isn't a game.
"This isn't a game," but
This
like,
is like,
it's just cool seeing like him go through the motions.
Yep.
yeah.
And why you should watch it. Same thing with you, John.
So Edge of Tomorrow.
Did you watch any
better than
kind of like
ReZero.
media or anything that?
Well, I mentioned
That's
the
kinda
one show
like-
which I never
that's
finished,
kinda
the
like-
Stephen
yeah.
King one.
Yeah.
I mean, Doctor Who, obviously.
Right. Well,
I don't know. That
That
doesn't have a whole lot of time travel in it.
No, because that goes like huge into time travel, obviously. Because
It's like the main plot or something.
Well, not really.
No.
Yeah, I know.
But,
like,
it's time
okay.
and space.
But that one even has the idea of single moments in time, where like
Sorry, continue.
like you can trap something in a single moment in time so that it feels like almost like it's in another space, but it's not, because if you look at it looks at space the same way it looks at time. Space, you can travel around in it and it's tangible, so it's easy to understand. You can, like I can walk over that way or
think-
walk over this way, but then if you view time like that, it's
I'm pretty sure Doctor Who follows the, like unavoidable fate thing
Does it?
though. Like a good example.
sort of the one way they described it you remember in Blink,
hmm
they said
That
some
was-
people
that was a
they
great
say that
example.
most people assume that time is just a straight line of cause and effect,
Yeah.
but really it's more like a big ball of wibbly wobbly timey-wimey stuff. So the
Mhm.
idea with that one is like time has all these things going all over the place, and
Yeah.
sometimes it intersects and sometimes it doesn't, and we each have our own timelines, and sometimes they cross, and a lot of times we have a shared timeline, and that's what's assumed to be like the main
Right.
timeline or whatever. But if there's all these people traveling in time and moving around and stuff, can we really view it as a single line anymore if people are moving around so much in it,
Yeah.
Well, I think I don't know. A good example. Spoilers, by the way, in like 3 seconds.
Oh God.
For Doctor Who?
Yeah. When yeah, one. Okay. The episode where we went to the library and River Song was there.
Yes.
With the
That
sonic
one.
screwdriver of the future, and she's like, "Oh, you gave this to me," and the doctor's like, "What the heck, no."
Yeah, because it was his first time meeting her.
Yeah.
But then,
However, it's not her
spoiler,
first time meeting
it's her
him.
Oh,
last time.
interesting.
Exactly, it's her last time.
It was a very interesting dynamic.
That's kind of like in Dragon Ball Z.
Is it now?
Oh,
Yeah, it is
Trunks.
actually.
Oh,
Because
I
like
guess.
there's like a weird theory, but besides that theory, like the point of
Oh,
it,
you
like
remember
during
the
the
thing with
Cell arc,
Trunks?
yeah, with Trunks coming back in time to save everybody, because Goku was gonna die from a heart disease that Cell gave him,
So he
and
went back
and
in
it was
time.
like weird because he saw his baby self and his mom.
I only watched
And
like
there
half
was-
the series or like 3/4 of it.
Oh,
so
okay. This isn't spoilers. This is like the
I
plot.
don't care. Yeah.
And the weird
it's
thing.
not spoilers. It's just
the
the
plot.
plot.
That's not what I meant to say.
It's like the start of a
Start of the arc,
It's
yeah.
like,
But there
is
was like
how it
this weird
happens.
comment, and I don't know like the 100% like truth of it. I just heard about it from someone.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said that like Bulma said, "How would I not recognize my own son, even though Trunks wasn't born yet?" Which was interesting, but it was just extra awkward because he like knew all these people died and knew exactly how it went.
Right.
But he had to stop it, and they were super suspicious of him when he first came. They're like, "Who is this guy? He's a
Right.
Super Saiyan. I thought we were the only ones." Yeah, and it's like, however, Goku out of all people was like, "Oh, I'm gonna die in a few years. All right, I'll help you out."
Yeah.
Because like, there's a movie. This is the first time I've ever been
Dragon Ball
exposed
Z
to.
Evolution.
No, the movie I saw, History of Trunks, which was basically showed the side in Trunks' timeline where everyone was dead, and the androids were still basically destroying everything.
Right.
That was the first time I was exposed to Dragon Ball.
Really?
Yeah, and it was really confusing because it takes like place in the middle of the story.
Right.
It's just weird. And like that Dragon Ball Xenoverse game literally is
Oh, it's
like
just time.
it's the entirety of time. Like the time patrollers and whatnot, they like go back in time and have to like fix anomalies and whatnot. Which Eyes of Heaven, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure just kind of steals that,
Yeah.
but in a different way.
That's a nice mechanic.
And that one also technically has 2 timelines because it has like
Right.
President Valentine and Poochie, like 2 very vital characters to the story, but are completely unrelated. Oh, and Dio as well.
And then other Dio that's like... See, that's
Yeah.
that's an
Exactly.
example of the multiverse theory.
Yeah, and I think this isn't spoilers for like JoJo's Part 7, but President Valentine's ability really touches on that. If 2 objects or people from different universes come in contact, they will erase and negate each other. That's his ability. So not only does he have the ability to go through universes,
Wait.
but that also
I'm not at Part 7 yet, but doesn't he can't he disappear into flat things or something?
that's how he
Yeah.
transfers.
Oh.
That's how he transfers. Also, he can talk to other things of his universe. He's protected with that ability.
Okay.
So but however, who cares about Eyes of Heaven? So I'll spoil it. The way you defeat Dio is you actually have Valentine gives you a wristband of the real Dio because the other Dio is from a different timeline.
Oh,
so
yeah.
when those come together, they negate and it breaks his arms, and he needs to punch something to activate his ability,
Right.
which rewrites reality, which is super abstract, but that would go with that one edible time theory where it's just there's only one universe and it just can keep getting altered. You could go back in time, change something so the future will be different, and
Yeah.
that's just the way it is. You can't do anything about it. That's kind of the whole thing. He can just rewrite reality with his just by punching something.
Well, now I really want to talk about King Crimson, but you know.
Hey,
Uh-huh.
I know. I already know what King Crimson.
he's on
Yeah,
Green
but
Day. He's on Green
What?
Day.
I'm past Green Day.
Oh, wait, so you know what happens to
Do you
Bruno?
know? Do you know?
Yeah.
You understand?
Okay,
how King
so
Crimson
yeah,
Makes me
yeah.
sad.
Nobody understands how King Crimson works, even though it's not actually that complicated.
Oh, all right,
It's
calm
really
down,
not that
calm down.
hard.
But
They literally
yeah,
say it themselves a couple
Yeah.
times.
Well,
yeah.
the whole idea that he was able. That's the one part I'm about to talk about is part of what's confusing, and he makes Bruno come into contact with his future or past self.
I feel like
Past.
I feel like
it was
that
his past self.
Past
Beca-
self, yeah.
I remember in the
I
game
mean,
what you just
technically
saw
it's
was
his
your
future
past
and his
self.
past self.
Yeah,
But,
that never happens.
Then they come into
Part 5
contact,
again,
and then
does
he
it?
starts
that's the only
Dying.
time it happens.
Yeah.
because you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
But then
I thought,
you
I
don't
thought
get
it was
paradox.
just because King Crimson.
Well,
punched
also
him.
wasn't that a
Well, yeah, no,
wasn't
didn't
that a bit?
Bucciolati die? But
Basically
he didn't?
died, but Giorno gave him life energy.
Yeah,
So
and then
he
he
could
could-
still live. However, progressively throughout the story, he knows less and less. In the car, his skin is basically cold, and then there's a thing, you're not there yet. There's a thing later, he, this isn't spoilers, but he basically goes blind, and he
okay.
guesses. Something happens and why that's important, but he basically goes blind and has to guess of what's going on.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But his heart is
Oh.
still beating though, and he still has life energy to live on. But
That whole
that was
that
weird.
that ending was
because
funny.
he shouldn't
That ending
be,
was funny.
He shouldn't be living because he intersected his own timeline.
He technically shouldn't.
Like with whole King Crimson ability, I'm gonna explain it because a lot of people don't know how it works,
Well,
even though it's not that complicated.
wouldn't you think that when he saw his past self, wasn't that just Epitaph showing him?
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
it's
Instead
not
of
like
actually
he
being
didn't
in
bring
contact?
the
It was.
That's what I
self
thought,
So
yeah.
forward.
it's two abilities, Epitaph and King Crimson. Epitaph can see the future and project it,
Onto his
and
hair.
yeah,
Sure,
Yeah,
yeah.
That's actually where he
Funny
sees it.
skull.
He can
That's actually
see
where he
and
sees it.
project the future, and then King Crimson then looks at that future timeline, takes, if you assume that everything's going to happen,
Yeah.
Which it will.
then
It's
you
like
have this
written.
timeline, and then you take this segment,
10
and you,
seconds.
and you cut it out, these 10 seconds, and you cut it out.
You
So
erase
everything that happened there didn't happen, but everything that was going to happen at the end of that time still happens.
It's like when they say erase time, they mean erase time.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
you just you write
Not
down
that
what's
complicated. It's just a hard to grasp concept because people don't like to view time as
Time
this
travel is
what's
too
happening.
hard to understand.
It's a solid concrete.
Well, a great example
It's
is
a-
Narancha eating the chocolate. He was going to eat the chocolate.
and then you
The
already
time
did.
was erased and it was in his mouth, and he didn't realize
He's
it.
just
Yeah,
like,
it's just
oh,
like-
how did I get chocolate in my
you
mouth?
write down
Well,
a sentence
it's
like-
going to happen.
I hate to eat chocolate. You erase hate to eat, and it just says I chocolate.
Yeah.
You still have
There you
everything.
go.
You still have everything before.
Thanks,
you
heaven
still have
still.
everything after.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense.
The middle's
I
gone.
chocolate.
Roll.
I chocolate. So that's what it looks like to everybody. It just looks
Yeah.
like I chocolate, but Diavolo knows it's I hate to eat chocolate.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Important thing to note about King Crimson. Remember the time Aerosmith shot Diavolo, but he didn't get shot because he erased it. But the other guy got shot.
Oh yeah,
It only erases time.
Metallica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It only erases time for Diavolo.
Well,
like the
yeah,
effects.
the point of it is so Diavolo stays protected.
Because if
So
he
he doesn't get
erased
hurt.
it and
Yeah, it
it
erases
still
the
went to
cause and keeps the effect, right?
because
That's
if
why
it kept the effect for Diavolo, he would have
does it
still
do,
got
right?
shot. But since it erases time, like,
It keeps
the
the
effects
effect.
of that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps the effect, but erases the cause.
That's
yeah,
why
and Diavolo's not affected.
That's why
by it
ending
because
has
he
to
can move
happen.
around.
That's why ending had to
Yeah.
happen.
By the way, Abbraccio.
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 Shut up.
Acraccio.
Part 5 spoilers.
Yeah.
He was a cop.
He used to be a cop.
Yep. Yeah, but
When he's a cop.
no, that's not what I'm talking about. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of weird time stuff.
There's a pretty cool stand in Part 7 that does time stuff.
Oh
Mandem?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mandem, he just goes back 7 seconds. It's nothing
No.
cool. But like, it's
Like
because
reverse deal.
yeah, sure.
Maybe a little bit.
Not really.
Not really though.
No,
That's
no.
stupid.
No, but
Anyways.
basically, like the way to his house is like a maze.
It's just
And
a
Gyro
forest.
and Johnny were trying to get to the house,
No.
but he kept bringing them back,
back.
7 seconds.
It reminds me
so
of
they
the
would
endless
keep like
stairway from
Oh yeah,
Mario.
we're
Yeah.
Where like it
keep
teleports
looping.
you to the bottom
Yeah.
of the stairway.
They kept walking past the tree with what was it, like
I don't
Power
remember.
Park, I think.
I think
Yeah,
it was
so they like took the wrong turn over.
Yeah.
and over.
yeah, they kept doing it, or like it's kind of like, or like even Bites the Dust was like a 1 hour in the back
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
But that was
because-
really
That was
Conditional.
weird. Yeah, that was super conditional because the point of it was to protect Kira's identity, and the weird thing is Kira didn't know who died.
Oh yeah.
He wouldn't have known because the time would go back and he
Well,
would be like, "Oh, I assume someone
Presumably, it
died."
would be somebody trying to find his identity.
Yeah, but he
Well,
wouldn't know
yeah,
off the
but
top
it
of his
doesn't
head.
matter if he knows or not. It's a failsafe for him, you know.
Yeah.
And that also goes with the whole fate is already determined thing because after the timeline has been set that Rohan dies, he still died no matter what, even if
Yeah.
Hayato didn't talk to him. 8:30 a.m. he would always die no matter what. Same thing
Unless
with
he
the
turned
others.
off Bites the Dust.
Same thing with the others until Hayato decided to take into his own hands and call Josuke. So he wasn't there, so he was somewhere else.
And then
Remember?
Kira was just like,
Yeah, I can't
I'm
remember how
Kira,
they got
I'm
around
Kira,
that.
I'm gonna kill her.
No, he
I need
called.
to rewatch it.
Remember when the phone rang?
Yeah.
Instead,
you have a call.
so Hayato basically told him this is the wrong number because it was actually a wrong number, but Hayato picked up the phone this time, and then he called Josuke, and because he was going to be late for school, so he told him to meet him earlier because he would have died, I think, like 8:38 or something, a few minutes after Rohan did.
But then wouldn't that have killed Josuke because of Bites the Dust?
Well, he wasn't
No.
trying. He didn't.
No, he
it only
wasn't, like-
activates if you try to tell them Kira is
His
the
identity.
killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he just says, "I'm going to need help over here," without saying his identity.
Yeah.
Because he can't say my
Wait,
dad
so
or
then
something.
they end up beating him before.
No,
The Rohan thing would've
Kira
happened?
had to deactivate Bites the Dust so he could use Killer Queen to fight Josuke.
Yeah.
Because you can't use both.
Because that was
Right, and they
before
got
8
him to do that
That was
before.
8:30. That was before 8:30 because you can't use both at the same time. It's either Killer Queen or Bites the Dust. He can't
'Cause
do
it-
both.
Or sure.
The cat's either like
Yeah.
really little in somebody's like thing, or like
In his
isn't-
eye.
Yeah,
His
is it
eye.
eye?
He doesn't
Yeah.
like.
and
he's not,
also,
like, there. He
Bites the
comes
Dust
out
also
when it
protects the
explodes.
host as well, Hayato.
Mm-hmm.
Hayato tried to kill himself, and it
Yeah,
didn't work.
it wouldn't work.
Darn.
It's just like remember, Jotaro tried to kill himself, but Star Platinum's like,
Yeah.
Catch
Yeah.
the bullet.
yeah.
Oh no, it's
For some
spoilers.
reason.
Yeah.
Oh, right in the beginning of part 3.
Spoilers. But
should-
yeah,
Well,
We
he
need
didn't
to have
actually
like a-
try
we need to have
he
like a
just knew 'cause
spoiler
he knew it was gonna
counter.
save him.
yeah, of course.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Ding,
Yeah.
ding,
Yeah,
ding,
spoiler
ding, ding,
right,
ding, ding, yeah.
Right.
Spoiler
Yeah,
counter.
yeah,
And
right-
then every
right-
time,
right around
every time
here.
there's a spoiler, right? You need to have a thing. Skip to this part in the video to get past the spoiler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have fun editing that, buddy.
Yep. So yeah, there's a lot of time stuff in media, and there's a lot of theories of like how time works, but there's really like no way to prove it. Also, one thing I'd like to mention is that I'm pretty tight, and I think a lot of astrophysicists are as well, that time and space kind of work together because like that whole thing like
Well, yeah,
on the
that's
edge of a black hole,
That's why they're
time
always
is like
referred together.
time is basically zero.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was saying with Doctor Who. How
Exactly,
like,
yeah.
you move around in space just as much as you can move around in time, and I like that one actually. It's
like super
slightly,
hot.
It's like slightly different than the multiverse.
Oh, yeah, it is.
It's like
It's
exactly like
Obviously
super hot.
The entire time. What?
It's exactly super hot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like
Super.
oh, that's
Hot.
Time
VR.
over
Oh my
super
god,
That's fun.
Yeah, you were having fun
What
with
is
that,
that?
huh?
Super hot.
That was
Oh,
The
yeah.
so
VR game.
awesome.
Basically,
Oh yeah. I'm
time
gonna,
moves
I'm
when
going
you
to
move.
Caleb's house.
You're lucky.
I want to try it.
Oh,
I haven't tried
That's
it.
awesome.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah,
to
that's kind of
Okay,
how
well,
it goes.
Anyway.
This was fun. This was epic.
Sounds
Yeah.
like we're out of time.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming,
Good job,
Jonathan.
Josh.
Yeah,
Love
thank
you.
so much.
You can come again. So,
You should be here for the
Maybe I
next
won't.
episode.
so that's
I'll
it for
invade every episode.
for today.
Time
in the
travel.
Outtakes. That's all the time we have.
Time.
We hope you enjoyed this. As always, leave any criticism, positive or negative. It is appreciated.
Is the camera on?
It is.
Okay.
And we'll see you all in the next one. See ya.
Statement.